Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're diving into a topic that I find absolutely fascinating, and that's movie fan theories. You know those crazy ideas that fans come up with that kind of twist and turn everything we thought we knew about our favorite films?
What I find really interesting about fan theories is that they tell us a lot about ourselves, about us as the audience. It's like we just can't help but search for these deeper meanings, even if they're in the most unexpected places.
Yeah, like we're all amateur detectives,
Right.
looking for those hidden clues and secret messages. And some of the theories that we're going to talk about today are really something else. We'll be looking at Titanic, Willy Wonka, Ferris Bueller movies we think we know really well, but maybe just maybe there's a whole other story hidden underneath.
Well, why don't we start with a theory that's almost as famous as the film itself? The theory that Jack Dawson from Titanic was actually a time traveler.
Okay. Yeah, I've got to admit, I've always been kind of intrigued by this one. It's all based on those little details that seem out of place for the time period. Like when Jack mentions going on a roller coaster on the Santa Monica Pier. The pier didn't exist until years after the Titanic sank.
Right. And there's his haircut, his knowledge of a man-made lake that wasn't created until after the disaster.
Yeah.
It all just feeds into this idea that maybe Jack wasn't exactly who he said he was.
Okay, so it gets even more interesting. The theory also suggests that Jack was actually sent back in time to try to prevent the Titanic from sinking, but he ends up accidentally causing it instead.
Yeah, and that plays right into our love of those classic time travel paradoxes. The idea that by trying to change the past, you might actually end up creating the very future that you were trying to stop.
Oh man, that's messed up. Like, good job, Jack. You saved Rose, but now everyone else is going down. I know it probably wasn't what James Cameron was going for, but it makes you wonder, why are we so drawn to these types of paradoxes?
You know, I think it's because deep down we're all fascinated by the idea of fate versus free will. Do we actually have control over our destinies, or are we all just kind of playing out a script that's already been written? You know, time travel stories, even when they're hidden in disaster movies, they really touch on that fundamental question.
That's a really good point. So it's not just about finding plot holes, it's more about exploring those deep philosophical questions that humans have always pondered.
Well, since we're on the topic of kind of dark stuff, let's talk about a theory that's a little more sinister. Have you heard the one about Willy Wonka being a secret child killer?
Okay, that one's always given me the creeps, but I can see where people are coming from with that one. I mean, Wonka really doesn't seem to care that much when bad things happen to those kids.
Exactly. There's this sense of detachment, almost amusement, when Augustus Gloop gets stuck in that chocolate pipe or Veruca Salt falls down the garbage chute.
And then there's that super creepy Tunnel of Doom scene, which is basically just a psychedelic nightmare. It's like Willy Wonka is intentionally trying to freak those kids out.
I think it's interesting to note, though, that the reception to the film really does vary quite a bit across cultures. For example, in Denmark, the film was actually titled The Boy Who Drowned in Chocolate Sauce, which suggests that a darker interpretation was more common over there.
So it's not just about what we see on the screen, it's about how we interpret it through our own cultural lens, right? Maybe some cultures are just more prone to seeing the sinister side of things.
Which brings us to the question, is Willy Wonka actually malicious? Or is he just a really eccentric guy who's misunderstood?
Mm.
Are we just projecting our own anxieties about protecting children onto a simple children's story?
Yeah, I think that's what makes these fan theories so interesting. They force us to really examine our own biases and assumptions, like looking in a mirror, looking at our own psyches.
And sometimes what we see in that mirror can be kind of scary.
Okay, well, we've talked about time travel and murderous candy makers. Are you ready to jump into a theory that completely flips a classic coming-of-age comedy on its head?
Are you talking about the Ferris Bueller theory? That he's just a figment of Cameron's imagination?
That's the one. Okay, I know it sounds crazy, but when you really think about it.
Yeah, well, there are some clues in the movie,
Yeah.
like how both Ferris and Cameron are introduced laying in bed, both claiming to be sick. Then you have Ferris's seemingly perfect life, which is a total opposite of Cameron's messed up family. And then don't forget about those moments where Ferris breaks that fourth wall, talking directly to the audience.
It's like he's saying, hey, I know I'm not real, but come on, let's enjoy this ride while it lasts.
The theory basically suggests that Cameron, who is dealing with all this anxiety and a bad relationship with his dad, creates Ferris as a way to cope. He needs that carefree, rebellious side to break free from his own issues.
Which makes you wonder, I mean, do we all have a Ferris inside us somewhere? A symbol of all our hopes and dreams? And if we do we also have a Cameron, that part of us that holds us back?
Yeah, maybe that's why this particular theory resonates so much with people. It speaks to that universal desire to become who we really want to be.
Wow, this conversation's getting pretty deep. How about we switch gears and talk about something a little more, shall we say, pulpy?
Ah, you're talking about that mysterious glowing briefcase in Pulp Fiction.
You got it. What's in that thing? Diamonds. Gold. The Ark of the Covenant. Well, there's a popular theory that suggests it's something much darker. The soul of Marcellus Wallace.
The soul in a suitcase theory. It's a great example of how fans can take something simple like a briefcase and turn it into a symbol for something way bigger.
Right. Think about it. That eerie golden glow coming from the briefcase, the combination to open it being 666. It's like Tarantino is intentionally using those classic biblical themes of good versus evil.
And then there's that bandage on the back of Wallace's neck, which some people think represents a place where the soul was extracted. It's all very symbolic and open to different interpretations.
And let's not forget those three guys in the apartment who end up getting shot. Were they just unlucky robbers, or were they like demons protecting that soul?
It's such a crazy idea, mixing religious imagery with that classic Tarantino violence.
Mm.
But it just goes to show you the power of the film, that it still inspires these types of imaginative theories even today.
It's like Pulp Fiction is one giant puzzle, and we're all trying to figure out how all the pieces fit together, and sometimes the craziest theories are the ones that make the most sense.
Or at least they're the most fun to think about.
Exactly. Okay, well, before we get too deep into the mind of Quentin Tarantino, why don't we travel to a galaxy far, far away for our last theory of this part?
You're going to mention the theory that connects Han Solo to a certain whip-wielding archaeologist, right?
Yep. Now, this one is definitely out there, but it's just too good to pass up. The theory is Indiana Jones is actually just a very vivid dream that Han Solo is having while he's frozen in carbonite.
It's the classic, it was all just a dream plot, but it becomes even more interesting when you apply it to two famous characters played by the same actor.
It goes like this. While Han is frozen at the end of The Empire Strikes Back, he starts having this incredibly realistic dream where he's this adventurous archaeologist living on Earth in the 1930s.
The only problem with that is that the Star Wars saga happens a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, which makes Han Solo knowing about Earth and Nazis pretty hard to explain.
Yeah, it definitely requires a lot of imagination to connect those dots, but it's a cool thought experiment, right? Just picture Han Solo, stuck in that carbonite, totally bored, dreaming up this exciting new life for himself.
I guess it speaks to our desire to escape our everyday lives and imagine ourselves as heroes in these totally different worlds.
Maybe it's more than just a dream. Maybe it's a glimpse into how everything is actually connected, a hint that there are more links between seemingly separate universes than we realize.
Or maybe it's just a funny explanation for why Harrison Ford plays the same character in all of his films.
Uh-huh. Okay, that's a good one. But seriously, I think it's incredible how these fan theories can start with something simple, like two characters played by the same actor, and turn it into something with a whole new meaning. It's like we're always searching for those hidden links, those threads that connect everything together.
And sometimes those threads can lead us down some pretty strange paths.
That's what makes this all so much fun. And we've only just scratched the surface. I have a feeling there are even more mind-blowing theories waiting for us. So get ready, because this deep dive is about to go even deeper. So we've covered some pretty crazy theories so far. Time travel, secret child killers, imaginary friends. It's all part of being a movie fan, right?
Uh-huh.
What if I told you there's a theory that interprets a goofy 80s comedy about two metalheads as a Christian allegory?
Oh, the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey theory, right? It's one of those ideas that seems so out there at first, but then the more you think about it, the more those parallels start to make sense.
I know, right? It's not the first movie you think of when you hear religious symbolism. But then you remember that scene where Bill and Ted actually meet death? And not just any death, but one who plays board games and challenges them to a battle of the bands.
Yeah, it's a very absurd take on the classic journey to the underworld. You see that theme in so many myths and religious stories. And then there's that whole idea of Bill and Ted being destined to be the world's saviors through their music.
It's like they're these prophets spreading a message of peace and unity through rock and roll. And they have to face so many obstacles, even death, to achieve their destiny. There are definitely some themes of resurrection and redemption there.
And don't forget about the importance of forgiveness in the movie. Even after being tormented by their evil robot doubles, Bill and Ted still choose to forgive them, ultimately helping those robots find redemption too.
That's that classic Bill and Ted attitude. Be excellent to each other no matter what. Which, when you really think about it, that's a pretty powerful message, no matter your religious beliefs.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that even silly stories can have deeper meanings. They can resonate with us on a different level.
So speaking of deeper meanings, let's switch to a theory that takes a fun musical and adds a touch of darkness. Have you heard the theory that Danny and Sandy from Grease are actually dead?
The Grease is a dying dream theory. That's a classic example of how fans can reinterpret a happy ending and turn it into a tragedy.
The theory says that the whole movie is just a dream that Sandy has while she's drowning. It starts with that Summer Night song where Danny sings about saving her life.
And the theory points to that last scene where they fly off in greased lightning as their souls ascending to heaven.
Okay, you know what? I've always thought that scene was a bit weird. Like, why are they suddenly flying away in a car? Maybe it's not just a cheesy ending, but something more symbolic.
Yeah, it's really interesting how that theory changes a story about teenage love and rebellion into something about mortality and the afterlife.
But wait, didn't the creator of Grease actually say that theory was wrong?
Jim Jacobs, the creator, has said that the characters are very much alive. But that hasn't stopped fans from continuing to explore this different interpretation.
I guess that just proves that the best fan theories are the ones that spark debate and make us rethink everything we thought we knew about a story.
Yeah, it's all about engaging with the material on a deeper level, even if it means challenging what the creator originally intended.
Right. It's like we're all adding our own interpretations and making the story bigger.
Okay, are you ready for another one? This time, let's go back to time travel, but with a twist that might change how you view one of cinema's most beloved characters.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. The theory that Doc Brown from Back to the Future was actually suicidal.
That's right. It's a theory that kind of makes Doc's whole quirky personality a little darker. But it does make you think about his motivations in the first film.
Remember that scene where he's showing off the DeLorean to Marty for the first time? He sends that car speeding towards them, and he tells Marty to, it's a pretty reckless move, even for Doc.
The theory is that Doc didn't really think the time machine would work. He was basically planning to end it all, taking Marty with him.
Whoa! But then why did it work? Why did the DeLorean actually travel through time?
The theory suggests that Marty's presence, his youthful energy and belief in Doc, is what accidentally saves them both. It gave Doc a new purpose, a reason to live.
So Marty's like a guardian angel without even knowing it.
And you see that change in Doc throughout the whole trilogy. He's not as reckless, and he's more focused on using his inventions for good.
So the whole Back to the Future story becomes this journey of Doc Brown going from darkness to redemption with Marty as his guide. It really makes you wonder how many other hidden stories are hidden within our favorite movies.
That's the amazing thing about fan theories. They show us that there's always more to uncover, even in the stories we think we know really well.
Okay, well, we've talked about time travel, death, and even religion. How about we come back down to Earth, well, New York City specifically, for our final theory of this section?
You're going to bring up that Ghostbusters theory, right? The one where Walter Peck, that EPA official, was actually the good guy.
Bingo! I mean, really, think about it. These guys are running around with unlicensed nuclear equipment, shooting proton streams at ghosts. It's amazing they didn't destroy the entire city.
The theory argues that Peck was just doing his job. He was trying to keep people safe and make the Ghostbusters take responsibility for their reckless actions.
Yeah, he's seen as the bad guy because he represents all that bureaucracy and red tape. But what if he was just a guy trying to prevent a disaster? And don't forget that Peter Venkman was a real jerk to him right from the beginning.
The movie definitely plays with our distrust of authority figures, even when they might be right.
So maybe Walter Peck wasn't the villain after all? Maybe he was just a misunderstood guy trying to save the city from a bunch of reckless ghost hunters.
I guess the main takeaway from all these fan theories is that there's always more than one way to look at a story.
That's a great point. We've explored some pretty wild interpretations today. But in the end, it's up to each viewer to decide what makes sense to them. It's crazy how these theories can make you look at characters in a whole new light. Like maybe the bad guy wasn't really so bad, or the good guy actually had some ulterior motives.
It reminds us that stories aren't always so simple. There's always more to the story. Different ways to look at things.
And sometimes those different perspectives can lead to some pretty mind-blowing theories. Like, have you ever heard the one about the Matrix being a metaphor for transgender identity?
The Matrix as transgender allegory. Yeah, that one's become pretty popular lately. It's definitely interesting.
So for those who haven't heard about it, the theory is basically that Neo's journey is like a mirror of the experiences that a lot of transgender people go through. That feeling of being trapped in a reality that doesn't feel like it's really you. And then you know that moment when you finally see the truth and choose to embrace who you really are.
Yeah, there are some pretty clear parallels there. Neo's choice between the red and blue pill is like that choice to transition or not. And then there's that character Switch, who was originally supposed to look different depending on whether she was in the Matrix or in the real world. It's kind of like transitioning between different identities, even though they ended up not doing that in the movie.
Right. And that whole idea of the Matrix being this fake reality that controls how we see the world, it's like how transgender people face all these societal pressures and expectations.
It's definitely a powerful interpretation. And just to show you that the Matrix is still relevant today. It makes us question our own realities and identities.
That's what I love about these deep dives. It's not always about finding the right answer or some hidden message. It's more about understanding these stories better, seeing them from different angles, appreciating those layers of meaning that you might not see at first.
Exactly. It's important to remember that how we interpret things is always changing. What we see in a film today might be completely different from what we saw 10 years ago, or what we'll see 10 years from now. Our experiences, what we know, our culture, all of that affects how we connect with these stories.
And that's what makes it so interesting. It's like these movies are alive, they keep evolving as we do.
And who knows what kinds of new interpretations and theories people will come up with in the future. The possibilities are endless.
Well said. Well, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of movie fan theories for today.
Yeah, we've definitely explored some wild ideas today.
Hmm.
Everything from time-traveling heroes to killer candy makers to the deeper meaning of a glowing briefcase.
Hopefully, we've inspired you to look at your favorite movies a little differently, to question things and enjoy the process of interpretation.
Because at the end of the day, what really makes these stories powerful is not just the story itself, but the conversations they start, the connections they make, and all the different ways we can find meaning in them.
So keep coming up with those theories, keep having those discussions, and most importantly, never lose that sense of wonder. The world of movies is huge, and there's always something new to discover. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.